Hi there, this is Kelly Dean again from the Tummy Team, and we're talking about splinting, and we are going to talk about why we love our splint, the Tummy Team splint, and why it's different from maybe other splints out there. You know, one of the things we say to people all the time is you don't have to use our splint. There's lots of other splints out there. If you have something already, you can often use what you have. However, there's a reason that we designed a splint and different types of splints and why we like our splints and why you can only buy our splints with the Tummy Team or a Tummy Team endorsed practitioner. Our splints are not the same splints you can see at the hospital. They're not the same splints that are on Amazon. They're exclusively designed for us. Now, that being said, they look very similar to an abdominal binder that you might see in the hospital or you might get after an abdominal surgery or something like that. And the reason is we liked how those fit. We liked how those fit so many people and were easy to put on and were really allowed you to kind of fit the curves and the shapes of a pregnant belly or somebody that has a narrow waist or somebody that's has a straight waist and that has this flexibility to fit a lot of different shapes. So we liked that, and so when we designed our splint, we based it off of the binders that are very commonly used. But what we didn't like about those binders were that they didn't last very long. They're made for very short-term temporary use. The velcro fell apart really quick. The fabric on the sides falls apart really quick. We recognize that people are on a journey with their rehab and often need their splint to last for several months and last for a very dynamic lifestyle. So we took that binder design and had it reinforced with much better integrity of all of the materials, all of the stitching, all of the Velcro. The Velcro is so good that it's almost too good. It can be kind of hard to get on and off, and all the stitching. Now this stitching still allows for a lot of flexibility, so it can take some wear and tear there, but for the most part, the whole fabric is far more substantial than what you would get in just like a post-surgical abdominal binder. So that is why these are different. The other thing that is great about our splints is that we've created a couple different sizes. We have the 2-panel as well as the 3-panel, and we also have a 4-panel. So it matches the torso size of a lot of different people, and this is really nice for people with that short torso or even with kids that we sometimes use the splint with kids. So we like that. There's a couple other things that we really like about our splint as opposed to other types of splints. There are splints out there that kind of go above and below the belly for pregnancy support, and we really like that our splint goes across the entire transverse abdominis, and it covers the most vulnerable place that could be susceptible to a diastasis, your belly button. So we feel like the belly button definitely needs to be covered and supported and approximated while you're pregnant and postpartum, and that is why we prefer our splint over one that kind of scoops under the belly and scoops over the belly. In addition, sometimes there are splints that kind of you can wrap around a couple times and cinch, and I feel like sometimes those roll a lot. They can be very cumbersome, and people wear them too tight. We want your splint to be snug like a hug and supportive and upright as much as possible. We feel like our splint, all splints roll and move a little bit, but we feel like ours does that much less than other splints. That being said, we also like the fact that we have some flexibility in our splint. There are other splints or kind of back braces out there that have really firm, reinforced, tight, extra kind of straps or boning in them. And I feel like that's overkill. I feel like that is not a rehab splint. That's like a protective back brace. And you want your splint to be able to support you and reinforce the transverse, but also allow for movement that happens in natural daily life. So you don't want it to kind of hold you rigid and do all the work for you so that you can't even learn to move naturally. So that's why we don't kind of like those really reinforced ones. The other thing that we don't feel works as effectively is something that's more like a neoprene sleeve or that's kind of like a Spanx, kind of a compression device, a supportive device, because those cause there's a pressure that happens around the whole belly that makes you almost want to press back into it. It's just a different feeling than this that kind of approximates the two sides and supports you and lifts you up. It's not too restrictive, and it allows for the movement, and it allows for your body to respond to the feedback that it's giving you. And then the last thing is that a lot of times you can wear the same splint prenatally, postpartum, because it's the same splint. Sometimes it doesn't match up because you're a different size. Sometimes you may have stretched out your splint a little bit and you need a little bit more supportive one postpartum, but a lot of times you don't lose enough of your belly immediately after delivery that you need the new splint right away. So a lot of times you can use the same splint you were using prenatally immediately postpartum, so you have that support, and then as your belly kind of starts to shrink down and starts to get back to kind of your postpartum size, then you can get a splint that fits that size without having to go through a lot of different splints. Okay, so those are some of the reasons that we love the Tummy Team Splint. We get lots of questions about why is our splint different, and of course we want you to get what you feel great about, and we just wanted you to know why we've designed this splint this way and why we love our splint. All right, thanks everybody. You can find out more information at thetummyteam.com. We have a whole section on splinting, and as always, we always recommend that you use a splint in conjunction with one of our online rehab programs, not to splint just by itself. And we have lots of information about that too. So we would love to help you and help you find the right splint and be strong for the life you were meant to live. All right, thanks so much.